Scale, exit, repeat. AI minor majors for your startup, AI growth hacks. If you're listening to this in podcast, or you're listening to this on replay, or you're listening to this on YouTube, believe it or not, it's actually a live show. And we welcome people to come to the show, to come on stage, and let's make this interesting. It's Friday afternoon, 2 o'clock Eastern. Every Friday we run this show. There'll be a few times in the summer where we do cancel the show due to traveling and whatnot. But for the most part, we do run a show every Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern. You're welcome to join us on Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. And if you are listening to the podcast, you may have noticed that our intro has changed a little bit, and that we now have a little bit more of a punchy intro for the podcast. Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. And that we created using an AI called Murica. And today we're going to talk about minor majors. We're going to talk about what they are and how you can use minor majors or growth hacks to scale your business or even to launch your business. Sometimes business startups, they take they require that you take a big move, a big gamble. But then also there are 100 small moves you can make. There are these minor majors, which I know, Michelle, you maybe have a different name for that. Our co-host, Michelle Van Tilborg. But this concept of putting a little bit of effort to having a maximum impact. And that's what we're talking about today. And it's all about these growth hacks. How do you use growth hacks to scale your business? But we're going to really focus and target AI. Maybe we'll spend the first 10 minutes talking about some other minor majors you can use to help grow your business. But then we're going to jump right into AI and how you can use AI. Just a small amount of effort can accelerate your growth. And if you're in the audience and you have a hack that you've used with AI that was easy to implement, please come on stage. Raise your hand, come on stage. We're already filling up the stage very quickly, so please raise your hand now so that we can get you on stage. We want to hear from you because that's what this today's show is
Yeah,
all
and
about.
I'm just going to suggest let's, let's do this like an open forum. So anyone who wants to actually come to the stage, you don't have to talk. We're not going to put you on the spot. Just raise your hand. Let's have a real active conversation here because, gosh, we all know there is a hell of a lot going on in this space right now. So just raise your hand and we'll make sure you get on stage, Colin.
Absolutely. Michelle, so this concept came about in the book Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, called Minor Majors. Others call it growth hacks. And they really require a little bit of effort, not a lot, just a little bit of effort to have a big impact or a huge impact. I think one of the ones that are more famous in the book that we talk about are the ones where we use signage and t-shirts and promotions, things that so every day you see me come to the office, I'm wearing a paw.com shirt or I'm wearing a Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat shirt. On the on my car is a Tesla Model X that's wrapped with a paw.com logo with my dog on it, and it's just popping out above the logo. In my house, I have a boat. We live on the Intracoastal in Fort Lauderdale, and we got about, I don't know how many people, but 1 million people a year go by my house. And so I said, why don't we put this on the side of the boat? Let me tell you a quick story here. When my wife wanted to bring more people into the school, she owns a school, and she wanted to bring in more students. And so she created these signs, these lawn signs, and handed them out to the parents. And they put these lawn signs all throughout the little town, and it was unbelievable for an open house, for a date for an open house. And it was so successful 10 years ago, she's never repeated it, and the school's sold out pretty much ever since then. So you can see sometimes you can make a little bit of effort and you can have a huge impact. Again, we're going to talk more about the AI side today. And I think if you haven't already played with AI yet, this is something you really got to jump into. And more, you have to rewire the way your brain thinks about how you do business today and what you are doing in your startup to integrate AI in every aspect of what you're doing. Michelle, what any other thoughts before we open it up to the team on stage?
Yeah, I'm just going to say, look, for me, it's evolving every day. And maybe this sounds minor, but it's changing for us at a very rapid pace, I'm going to say, in terms of creative design. Like, obviously, you still have to be very creative, and it's not easy. But what I'm talking about is a little bit differently. I'm not just saying, oh gosh, replace everybody. I'm talking about the way I think about my creative strategy. Okay. So, this actually happened this week. So on paw.com, we're getting ready to release two really amazing, phenomenal dog beds. So normally I'm running around, I'm like trying to outsource creative pictures, lifestyle pictures, maybe a couple of silos, a couple of dogs, etc. And it's a lot of work. It's very expensive. Okay, so that's one. And then secondly, the copy, like you're just trying to get it just right. And that just takes time. So this time, looking at my product releases, Colin, I'm actually like, okay, let's step back here a second because this is great. This is why I get involved because I'm helping the creative brief and all that. And I'm thinking, like, actually, what I think I need is just like whatever, 10 really good silo photos. And anyone who does product photography understands that, or marketing. Yeah, just like good photos of the actual product, white background, just whatever. But I'm like, now it's shifting for me dramatically. I'm like, okay, actually, I think I need to get, this is your part about, is it out getting rid of people? Like, instead of doing whatever, three of those, I'm like, no, I'm going to do 20 of those because I could have this kind of canvas that I can use through AI, with a lot of human direction interaction, because I want these things to look very authentic. So I see how it's shifting my mindset. And I don't think it's necessarily, I mentioned this because Colin's asked this question a lot, affecting how I hire people. Actually, I want people to think smarter, but it does affect how I approach whole projects so that I could really scale it fast. Because I'm just a micro brand here. I need to scale these projects, these products, and these sales and my ads on Meta and etc. without waiting and spending, gosh, Colin, at least 10 times more, at least.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm there. We had one sort of cool startup club hack this week. Started playing with a new app called Marika, and I was on with JLD John Lee Dumas, who does the Entrepreneurs on Fire podcast this last week and on Tuesday. So I said to John, "Look, I'm going to create a song for Entrepreneurs on Fire, and I'm using Marika, Mureka, and Mimi, maybe you could post the TikTok video up there on the top. And I'm using this as a case study of how we can how you can use AI as a minor major. Went into AI, into ChatGPT, added write lyrics for an Entrepreneurs on Fire song. I actually literally cut and paste from his front page the five speakers, his five top speakers. Of course, I threw myself in there because this we're marketing too here. What we're trying to be creative, and we also want to promote ourselves at the same time. We put the I put it into ChatGPT, created the lyrics for the song. Looked pretty good. Actually, at first I wrote out the song myself, just completely the lyrics. Just it was messy, very whatever, blank piece of paper, a blank Word file, whatever. And then I popped it into ChatGPT, and then I put that into Marika. I set the tone of the type of singer I wanted with it, and I ran it. And I did about three or four versions. I got to the fourth version. It sounded really cool. And then I had my graphics person put together a nice video. We launched it. Today we have on TikTok about 34,000 views in 2 days and 2,100 likes on this video that we've come out with that promotes myself, but it promotes the book, it promotes Startup Club, and it promotes Entrepreneurs on Fire. And this is what I'm talking about. Maybe the investment in total was about $500 to produce this video. We did a little boost as well on TikTok, and so just to get it spark it up, and it's had a phenomenal result. And it's actually a pretty good song and a pretty cool video. If you get a chance, it's on the top of the screen here. This is the advantage of coming to a live show. You can actually click on things while you're here live, and you can see that. But if not, just go to startup.club and read the article. So on top of that, we actually wrote an article. In the article, I put out the 4 songs that I produced. One for my Riptide CrossFit gym, one for entrepreneurs, which is going to be the Startup Club anthem, which Jamie, our graphics guy, is working on the video, like putting that out on video. And then I had another one was it was an anniversary, and so I created a song for our anniversary, my wife and I, and all of them were really good. They're really catchy. They really are something. And if you have a community out there and you want to do a song or you want to do a jingle or you want to do whatever it is now, that component you can now do on your own. You don't need to hire a music writer or artists to record it and do all that kind of stuff. You've got something you can do right away here, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. So, my suggestion is if you have a community, think about bringing music into that community, and it's not very hard to do. And it just can help accelerate the community. I know we've got paw.com, we got Meowingtons, we got Startup Club.
Yep,
I'm
we
focused
do.
right now on the Startup Club. I mean, on entrepreneur messaging. I do suggest when you go into these AIs, and I do this a lot, is just look at a blank screen and a Word document and just think about what you want to do, who you want to target, and then just write that out, just raw, just make it raw, and then pop that into the chat GPT, have it clean it up, have it turn into lyrics, and you'd be surprised at some of the songs that it can produce, and phenomenal. Just I just can't blows me away. It blows me away.
Yeah. All right. And it is very cool. It's really shocking. But I'd like to get to our audience because we have some brave participants up here. And let's hear what they have to say. I'm looking at Jaw C. Jaw C. Do you have any questions? You want to bring any tips and hints or otherwise to us? Jaw C.
Yes. Sorry, I was passively
Yeah,
listening and
yeah,
then I
no
heard my name.
problem at all, man. All right, just go ahead. Go for it.
Go for what? I was
Oh,
passively
yeah.
listening.
So we're just talking about our hacks or major minors using AI, and Colin gave some really interesting examples. So did I. Do you
Ah,
have any suggestions for our lovely club members here today that have
yeah.
taken their precious time to actually join us?
My secret to success is knowing people that are good with things like that. I myself, I probably suck with AI, but I'm surrounded by a lot of young minds, a lot of innovative minds who are really good with it. So I utilize them. And it's not just so simple. There's a lot of alignment involved for people to get people to do stuff. But I focus on aligning and building relationships in that way. That's the best advice I have. Whatever you can't do, find someone else who can do it and make it work. But outside of that's all I got.
No, I think that's good advice, right? Like we should, like it's such an infantile like stage of where we're at. Like we should all be like really helping and sharing with each other. That's why we love obviously Clubhouse and Startup Club. And Colin shared with us one of the softwares that he's using. I'm just going to drop another hint. For me, what I just learned that I would like to tell our members about is, do you guys all remember the robot.txt files, old school Google SEO to follow? They
No,
actually released an LLM, which is AI.txt file that you can also put in the root of your website to give it special instructions. We're evolving really quickly here, and we're all here to share and learn. Colin, I see you want to talk.
I think going back to your point about using people around you, if you don't have people around
But
you,
it's not using.
not
We're
using,
like
okay,
all
getting people
helping.
around you to help you out, do
Using
things.
is fine. Just don't misuse.
Yeah,
I
there
like
you
that. All
go.
right. I
There you
like that
go.
one.
Yeah, that's there you go. Let's be deliberate here.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is that AI, you can literally talk to an AI and say, and have it create a persona almost, right? So you go to the chat GPT and you say, and I was working on a project here. I'd like you to be one of the top law firms lawyers at a top law firm that works with the government in the United States, and I want you to write a memorandum for me, and I want you to ask me every question you need to ask me, and I want you to do this. So you literally can almost turn the AI into a almost like a human intern. In fact, Rabbit just came out right now with an email about 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. Rabbit was working with Perplexity, and they're now offering a service called Intern, literally. And you can just ask it, and it will write a code for you, or it will do this for you, or it'll create a website for you. That is where it's going here. That's something I haven't played with Intern yet from Rabbit. They say that's their second product, and it looks very promising. When I look at the email, I'm like, holy shit, this is exactly where we're going with this. The AI is going to start interacting with other AIs. So you can say, you can create an AI
I
that's
think
your
they already
assistant.
are.
No, it's
They
your
already
assistant, and
are.
that assistant can then do everything you need to do. Let's say I'd like for you to go make me 10 songs on Murica, test them with $50 each, see which one has the best response from people
I
on
think
Twitter, and
Jaw's
then
gonna tell
and
us
then
what
and then
to
give me the
do.
top song. And you probably could just have them do all of that, just
Oh
like
my
an
God.
intern
Hey,
you
I,
hire.
hey,
I,
Colin.
I really need for people to jump on the stage here because this is a really good conversation and we want and we need to help and hear from each other. So please raise your hands.
Um,
All right, Jaw, go for it.
I think
Jaw,
it's
you're,
Jason.
no,
I mean
I'm
Jason, right?
waiting for Ja.
yeah.
In the meantime, Colin, could you put those resources in the chat? Those two names that you said,
Marika, Mimi can,
sidekick.
the song one,
Yeah, the last ones he said,
Oh yeah, so
Marika.
Rabbit
intern or something.
and Marika.
That's all
Rabbit.
right, not to be confused with other womanly products. This is something that was actually a Kickstarter.
Now you
Okay.
got an idea there. Take some AI and mix that with some
I'm
women
not saying
products, and
it.
maybe
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it.
okay. I think
Yeah,
that's a good
Okay.
idea, though. I
my
think you're onto something there, Michelle.
I love the fact you're doing songs now, Colin. I was doing well. I guess I'm not a musician, but I'm an artist, and I struggle to find the money to pay to go back in the studio. So I hadn't been in the studio since 2005 when I got a $10,000 Canada Council for the Arts grant. And it's very hard to get those grants because it's very competitive. There's what 40 million people or something in Canada. So thousands of people that are probably competing for any of those grants. So I hadn't gotten funding since then. I had to close down my company, Toronto Poets, in 2010 and pay off my debts and sell my house at 33, move into an apartment with my mama. So it was very costly. So now with these AI apps, it only costs $10. I don't know, you spent a little bit more than me, but I haven't done the video yet. But I've produced 7 or 8, maybe 9 songs in 1 month. I did that for $10.
What app are
So
you using?
yeah,
Yeah,
Suno.
which one?
I've been using
Oh,
Suno.com.
Suno. Yeah, Suno,
Yeah.
which is on ChatGTP now, right, Jason?
And is it on ChatGPT? Like they bought it, or what do you mean by
No,
on
that's Sora.
ChatGPT?
You're mixing up with that with Sora. That's Sora.
Oh, I'm
That's different.
sorry. I
Yeah.
had the wrong
Yeah,
one. Is it Sora or?
I think Suno is independent, but there are
Okay.
some that are approaching that level of quality and maybe even surpass. But at the end of the day, most of them are way more advanced than I think every 3 months they're like
It's
either
incredible.
doubling. Yeah, so I think the key big difference is between somebody that doesn't use them and somebody that uses one of them, right? Because just like my example, costing me 10,500 to go in the studio and so much more time too. And these are better. And I did them by myself, whereas I needed a studio engineer. I had 15 different artists to do that album that cost 10,500, and I still
Holy
lost money
cow.
on it. Yeah, I still lost
Wow.
money on that in 2005, and I had to sell my house. So because nobody wanted to buy CDs, people were just listening to the radio, and so it's very hard for artists unless you get with a big producer, and I won't mention any names, but you know the problems with that. So basically this empowers the small artist, the young person, the teenager, so you don't have to rely upon somebody else, because the I think it's the democratization of so many things, and that means for people that don't know, like just letting the average person do something instead of the big studios or big corporations. I think it does a good job of leveling the playing field, because I hadn't produced any songs since 2005. People didn't know I could do songs, right? So now people can listen to my songs. So I think it's so good. I didn't want to have to like lose another house go into the studio, and I couldn't find anybody. I know people say, oh, they use people in their network. Nobody was hooking me up. Nobody, no musician was teaming up with me that I shared the
I hear
guns
you.
to. So
I hear
yeah,
you.
so I
I
think it's
never
really
get the
good.
hookup. I never get those hookups either. I get you. Yeah.
Yeah, I got something for you,
Otherwise,
Jason. I got something for you. Here, listen to this. Listen to this. I did this. I wrote this morning. Again, I used ChatGPT and I said, make it even better, make it more emotional. I'm not going to play the whole song. Here's an example. Canada, my soul runs deep through mountain heights and oceans steep, from prairie gold to tundra wide. I wear the maple leaf with pride. I am Canadian through and through. And then it crescendos and it goes up and it's phenomenal. Like a little bit of imagination, a little bit of creativity as an entrepreneur or even as an artist interacting with AI, you can do phenomenal things now. You can create these custom songs. I did one from my both my the grandmothers, my mother-in-law, my mother. I did one for a wedding, a song for a wedding. It sounds pretty cool. I mentioned we did the entrepreneur songs, one that just got 30,000 views and 2,000 likes on TikTok in 48 hours. And what did it cost? We're talking about very low amounts of costs, and yet and they're good too. Some of them are very good. And just so you know, I'm Canadian, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
also
welcome
American.
back. You're
Well, I'm
welcome.
I
also
think we
American.
could
So
have guessed
If you want to
that.
come
I
home, you're
think
welcome back.
I am also American as well, and was working on a song. And I'm just going to play an American just for 1 minute here. Just 1 minute. Listen to this. It's unbelievable. I am American. I believe in a dream of freedom, a family of legacy. I walk in the steps of those who stood tall, who gave it their all, who answered the call. They fought for the land where we all could rise, with hope in our hearts and fire in our eyes. We are made in America, forged in the flame, bound by our purpose. All right, I don't want to take all the time here with this music, but you listen to that, it's almost tear up. Just it's incredible. And what's that?
Yes, it's very good. It's very good. Sorry, I thought you were.
No, and so if there's a passion that you have, if there's a community you have, I got two really cool songs on startups. One is with the Entrepreneurs on Fire on TikTok right now, and then another one that the video's gonna come out next week. And that other one's very passionate too about we fail 100 times. We do, so I pre-write out the stuff in advance and then put it into the AI. And again, it's incredible. And if one doesn't work, let's say you make it and it fails, like who cares? Just do the next one or go to the next one. I've been playing with VO3. I don't know if anyone else here has been playing with that because we can use Sora on ChatGPT to create videos, really cool videos with no sound. I'm also using VO3 with sound and actually having people speak in the actual videos that look very professional. That would, if we had to hire performers and I'm just saying, if we had to, we couldn't afford to do the video,
composers and
composers, everything, and
directors.
it's
Yeah.
phenomenal. And we're able to put together these like amazing videos using these AIs. And this particular project that I'm working on is for another company in our incubator, and it's really about creating an advertisement for them or really a promotional video. So not all these things are just about music in America or Canada, whatever it is you're writing about. It can be about your business or your startup, and if you want to create a jingle, or like I said, if you're listening to the podcast now, we've completely changed the front of the podcast now using this technology from Murica to be a little more punchy. And so when you listen to this, if you do listen to us in podcast, we'd like for you to give us some feedback on our new intro. I think we're almost up to 200 episodes, so it's the first time we've changed the intro music for the podcast. But
Pretty amazing.
yeah, unbelievable. All right,
Yeah, I want to say something. Actually,
go ahead,
we're
Michelle.
at the middle of our podcast. We quit exactly at a little bit before 3, but we are almost at 2:30 almost. And I just want to remind everyone we have an amazing website. We have an amazing editor in chief, Mimi, who's here on the stage with us. We post every single session plus more, like amazing articles and cool things that Colin is doing on Forbes and entrepreneur.com, as well as his best-selling book, which, by the way, happy birthday. We know it's soon. And he has also won 30, you heard that right, awards, and some very prestigious ones. So we're very proud of the work that he has done and the team. But you can sign up for an email, and no kidding, no shit, it's all free. So I think we're a little bit crazy if we don't do that, Mimi. But back to you, Colin.
Yeah, I'll tell you what too. If you send them in a message to hello@startup.club, we'll send you the and just put it in the heading music. We'll send you the two songs that we've produced here for startups. One, Entrepreneurs on Fire. The other one called We Are Entrepreneurs, and you can add them to your iTunes library for free. It's absolutely free. So send an email to hello@startup.club and put in the heading music, and Mimi, I'll make certain you get those MP3s that you can send out as well.
Oh my gosh, this is too much fun, but I want to get to Pierre. Pierre, welcome to the stage. Thank you for joining, and we would love to hear your thoughts and your stories. Go for
Okay.
it.
Thanks, Michelle. I guess to the question on, think AI and learning a little bit with AI, started to use large language models for data modeling. In my line of work, you actually are taking data and trying to craft answers based on marketing data and sometimes operational data. And AI can help when there's a lot of iterations on analysis. And one of the things I think that's important is that I know that the group talked a little bit about having other people explore, but I think you really have to have a very basic objective laid out with a little bit of some I wouldn't say guardrails, but maybe some guidelines on so that way people are not spinning their wheels and too much on stuff that's been explored. For example, time series data, which is just basically looking at it could be visits to your website over time, profit over time, that type of stuff. There's some things you can do with just a simple analysis that doesn't require an AI, but at the same time, if there are some things that are very iterative, you might want to look at a data model. And there's a lot of these different types of, there's almost like two groups of things that are forming. One is the Chat GPT, Gemini, Prospect, Claude type usage we just use in the browser. And then the other that's been forming is actually taking large language models and running it locally on your laptop. So I would say in either case, the biggest thing to do that would help you the most is create like a technology dojo for yourself, something where you can act where you and your team can form some of those guidelines and then try to explore how to use the AI. And doing that will give you the right environment to keep learning, to get to your solutions, and then also, but at the same time, give you a little bit of flexibility on wheel spinning the ideas and trying to figure out how to get traction on the ideas that you want to pursue. I think that's going to be very important, particularly as we get to agentic AI and all these other applications that keep coming up as well too.
What do you think of deep research? Have you played with that, like with on ChatGPT? I mean, I've been doing like I do it now probably about I don't know 4 or 5 times a day. I am burning a lot of data or whatever. It's like a toggle on your paid account called Deep Research, and it takes about 30 minutes sometimes, but it's incredible. It goes in there and it does stuff that you'd be surprised how accurate it is. Whereas when you just simply do a query on ChatGPT, for instance, it can hallucinate a lot. Whereas the deep research really gets into detail and creates a full report, like really unbelievable. And I've done legal memos, and it's just incredible what it can do. The deep research. I haven't played with Google's deep research. I know they have one because I see that on my account, but I have played it with ChatGPT, and it's just incredible.
See, you've been the opposite of me. I actually have been working around with Gemini and mostly Claude. You'll find that a lot of people, if anybody who's a developer, don't be surprised they say Claude quite a bit, basically. Claude's been pretty good. But I think the deep research, I think, is helpful on all the platforms because it starts touching upon reasoning. A lot of times, when you run your prompt, you should be seeing some sort of little phrase saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to assess this step. Yes, I'm going to accept, I'm going to review this step, and then they start providing the answer. That part has been really popular and was badly. I'm amazed at how fast that has come out because it was something that people really wanted to see. Because to your point about hallucination, sometimes you need to know why a model is making the response that it is. There was a really good one about chain of thought where they showed the addition example, and they showed that in a one shot without giving an example of how to add, the AI model got it wrong. So having the reasoning part, I think where you're doing deep research or looking at some of these other features, no matter what platform you're using, I think is helpful because you can see this and then know how to iterate or such that you are not just responding, but also getting the model to respond in a way that you are to what you were looking for without being too overly cursive, if that's a really a great way of saying it. So I say it's a great idea.
Yeah, I did it with the newsletter 2 months ago. This was the newsletter that we talked about: start, scale, keep versus start, scale, exit, repeat. And I was in the AI and I described the model of this fish and chip shop that was in my local town, and how this gentleman used to have a really phenomenal fish and chips, great formula. But his real formula was selling the businesses, getting the right location, selling the businesses. And I said, I'd like to model 5 years and I'd like him to sell one fish and chip shop per year after the first year. And I want the other model to have him keep it, but sell that shop after 5 years, but keep all the income. And I ran it, and it just came out with a messy garbage answer. And so I clicked on deep research, and it came back with a full analysis, a chart, perfectly done. And we ran with that for the newsletter. And by the way, the answer to the question, you might be curious, it was like $490,000 versus 2.1 million dollars. And the whole theory behind start, scale, exit, repeat is the velocity of money, essentially. Don't just start, scale, keep, start, scale, exit, repeat. And stay in your lane. But if you can do that, you can actually make a lot more money by selling your businesses if you get the right timing versus trying to just build your businesses and keep them. And I'm not saying there aren't business models like that. And we do that a lot with real estate. I always say that I run tech companies and I take the money and I put it into real estate. So I keep the real estate and sell off the tech companies as we progress here. But the modeling around the deep research was really good. And so if you haven't played with, that's something to play with. I know I had to upgrade. I've now upgraded to the Pro, $200 a month on Google, or 150 a month on OpenAI. I got the Teams accounts. I mean, I'm spending like probably $700 a month now on these AIs. But quite frankly, it doesn't matter. It is so inexpensive compared to what you get back. It really is like Tony Stark. You slap on that Iron Man suit and just take off. All right, thanks, Pierre. It was really good talking with you, and we'll come back to you if you got some more ideas as well. We do have Flavius on stage here. Flavius, did I pronounce it correct?
Yeah, that's close enough. How you all doing? Thanks for putting this space together. I think it's long overdue that I come into something like this. And I'm going to start. I think I'm a little bit late in the AI game, but
Oh
better
no, you're not late in the AI game. This is
No,
the
not
first
not
inning.
at all.
This
Not at
is the
all.
first inning. Unbelievable. There would be so
fantastic.
many sub shocks and sub paradigm shifts. It's going to ripple for the next. That's like saying in 1996, Mark Zuckerberg saying too late to the internet because I started in 2006 and Amazon came out in 96. And no, we're at the very beginning, the very first innings. This is phenomenal. It's a great time to be in part of this history
Yeah,
and to be an entrepreneur.
yeah, that's really good to know. And one of the things that's made me reticent was like in the early days when the language translator, one of the first ones that was tried then, was given the one Bible passage to translate from English to Russian, and the passage was the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak, and the translation came out the vodka is strong but the meat is rotten, something like that. So I really had some, and I think you call that hallucination in AI terms now. So I was really worried about deploying AI. I'm in the construction industry, but not construction like major construction. I manage pavements, parking lots, warehouses, things like that. I manage it. So most of my customers buy on emotions, not logic. So I think I was thinking of it like AI will give you a very logical product and I need to appeal to their emotions. But hearing you all speak about this right now, I think there's a lot more opportunity for me out there to uh, figure out a way to use all the resources, the tools to connect to the leads, manage the leads, and just make sure I'm connecting to what exactly they really desire and not what I'm trying to sell. I'm really happy to hear you all say this and looking forward to continuing the baseball game.
Yeah, exactly. First inning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is a moment in time, a special moment in time. There's never been a better time in history to be an entrepreneur. And you're going to see the first solo billionaire, unicorn, entrepreneur, over the next year or two. And when I say solo, I mean, they'll obviously have consultants and you'll have your AI assistants.
Of
And
course.
I mentioned Rabbit there. Rabbit has this new intern you can hire, and it does tasks for you. It literally creates apps. I was looking at it. It was literally create an app that does the following. And it says no coding needed. And I've never been a geek. I've always wanted to be a geek. I've always aspired to be a geek, but I've never could become one. It was my worst mark in college is coding. I just couldn't do it, and I've been running tech companies my whole life, and it's still I just can't. I'm not. I'm just not that smart of an individual, and now I feel like
I don't think
liberated.
it's about
I
smarts. Come
feel like
on.
no, but I feel liberated.
I
I
don't
feel
think
like
Come
I
we're
don't think smart
on.
either.
we're entering a time in history where I freaking wrote 4 songs and put them out there, and they sound amazing. And if I want to write a manuscript, I can write a manuscript. I can write a Netflix streaming series. I could do anything I want now. It just creates just a little bit of imagination, a little
All
bit of
right, I want you to write Start Up the movie.
startups, start, scale, exit, repeat. The true
Yeah,
story, but
that's
yeah,
right. That's right.
but we'll never
I
admit the
will watch
truth.
that. Count me in.
No,
Yo,
I know. They do one very similar, *Halt and Catch Fire*. That was
I
very
know.
similar to mine. Would be a little later in the time period than that one, but I have thought about it. Let's sell 1 million copies first of the book, and then we'll
Oh,
work on that.
we're doing it before then. But yeah, go ahead.
All right. Oh, Magnificent just joined as a listener. We love having you on stage, Magnificent. Great topic today. And I don't know if Shadows is there today. All right. So if you're on the audience, this is open mic. We're talking about growth
I
hacks.
just want to read something that
Go ahead.
Jason actually just posted. Jason, that was a really good thought that you had.
Yeah, there's no such thing as smart or stupid. There's just paying attention and not paying attention.
I love
And paying
that.
attention is free, but it's more valuable than any course you could pay for.
There you go, my friends. Well spoken. Thank you for sharing that. You heard that, Colin, right?
Yeah, I did. Yep. And
That's right.
if you're in the audience, you want to jump on stage, raise your hands. We got 19 minutes left here. If anyone's here's on stage, here's Magnificent. She's jumping right into it.
Colin, can I share a
Go ahead,
strategy?
Jason,
Oh,
and then we
sorry,
got Magnificent.
magnificent,
Yeah.
magnificent. Go ahead.
No, Jason, go ahead. Give her a moment to breathe. She just walked into the room.
Oh, okay. The strategy that I use in general for business, and I think everybody can do this, like when you're looking at competition, like a SWOT analysis, I essentially, when had to sell my house in 2010, I said I had to learn how to do this properly. I can't, because it was also my mother's house. Okay, this is very bad. Okay, because it was both of us had ownership, and I caused my mom to have to move in an apartment. And look, my rest of my family was not happy. Okay, that's why I don't even use my other sibling's name. She was not happy with me. Essentially, I said I have to learn how to do this properly. So I started looking at who's the best in everything. Like started reading books like Robert Kiyosaki's book on finances and Rich Dad Poor Dad, and what is that one? How to Win Friends and Influence People, and
Richest man in
all of
Babylon.
yeah. I haven't read that one yet, actually, but over 100. So what I did is, who's the best in everything, and that's basically my strategy. So I'll
There you
ask
go.
ChatGPT, who's the best,
I
right?
love
And I'll
that.
ask the top 10. I'll say the top 10 in this industry, the top 10 in that. So then
Right.
you can see then, and you can learn from the best. And if you do that for over 10 years, and you're disciplined, you know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
You become the best. I retired the best. I'm done speaking.
That's the ultimate minor major, right? Learning. All right. Sounds good. Magnificent. We'll just jump down to you right now.
Yeah, I love what Jason just said. And thank you for the warm welcome, Colin. And hi, everyone in the room: Mimi, Michelle, Kyle, Jason, Pierre, and everyone downstairs and to my right and left. I just love what you said, because I think not copying, but emulating people that are where you want to be and following their history. I can think of someone, I won't say who it is, but she just, after 20 years of trying to make it in like syndicated radio, having a television show that failed. I've known her a long time, and we both had radio shows on, and hers got canceled for whatever reason. Talk show the whole station got canceled, I think. So I don't think it was anything personal, but she's now a top, you might know who she is by, me just saying this, but she's now, I think she's beaten Joe Rogan on her podcast downloads, and she has a number one best selling, not belling, best selling book, easy for me to say, but it took her like 20 something years. So I think, and she's someone that I could emulate because we were in the same place at the same time. If you watch people, how they grew, and you look back at them 15 years ago, that's a great path to follow. Not that you'll know every little trick and every little thing, but you could learn a lot just seeing where they were 15 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, that speaks a lot, right? What we're doing actually matters, right? Colin and I have spent, and Mimi have spent a lot of time. Like you can imagine to produce 200 podcasts, and we're also running businesses. Like this is kind of like our fun thing that we do, but that's very inspiring, magnificent. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I'm glad, Michelle.
It's very good. The other thing you could do quizzes quickly is if you have a lot on your website. So I started in 2010 writing down my goals online. So the thing is, of course, I understand some people don't want to do that, but I basically have our whole plan, our whole dream, big one, not like the detailed tactics online. So then I can just basically say I wanted to pitch a partnership with I can't remember the name of the pet website, but say I would basically, because I really like dogs, right? So say I had a dog product, I'd say, okay, how do I pitch my dog product based on my website? Look at my website. How would I send an email to pitch for a meeting to pitch my dog product to, is it pets.com? And something like that. But anyway, whatever, you get the idea. So anybody that I want to partner with or pitch to, I can say, look at my website and then look at their website. How would I pitch so that we could potentially work together?
I like that. And I did something similar a couple weeks ago. I was at a trade show and I went to the AI and said, can you go to paw.com and give me 20 new product initiatives based on what we do and where our lane? Can you give me 20 new products ideas? And some of them were actually pretty good. But what I didn't do, and you just gave me the idea now, Jason, was, and by the way, I don't even have to describe what we do. I just said, just go to paw.com to the AI. But what I could do is I could actually go to some of my competitors and say, can you just show me, can you describe what would be great products that they could launch? So I actually could take it one step further. And that's an example. That's just an example of a minor major. I've been using custom GPTs as well for contract management. So I upload the contract to a custom GPT, and it takes 1 second to do that. And I can ask it any question. I can do amendments. I can do all that kind of stuff. And I don't know where lawyers are going to be 5 years from now. I'll be quite frank. But today, it's a lot of it can be done through AI. And even though we've got lawyers involved in our companies here, I sometimes pre-ask the AI before the meeting. And literally, I was in a meeting 2 days ago, and I sent the letter from the AI to this lawyer's litigator. And I said, this is what we want to run. What do you think? She looked at it and she says, actually, I like the idea. And she's just going to use it based off that. And we saved a lot of time. So I'm just saying, a little bit of knowledge, a jack of all trades, master of none, and you can rule the world.
Yeah,
And even
Colin,
write the
I work.
song, even write that song, which I know is already out there. So rule the
If
world.
you listen to a lawyer
Yeah, but
before, oh, sorry.
yeah, I think it forces us to raise our level, Colin. That's how I think of it. I'm resistant thinking it's like totally replacing me. I'm thinking it's making me better. Like I have to think better, which I think all of us want to do.
I agree with Michelle because I see a little different. I see I see AI a little differently as a if as simplifying some hangups in terms of, at least from a programming side point, in terms of understanding where to debug, where to look for something, doing it a little bit more systematically when there's a lot of pieces that you have to put together, and freeing up time for you to do the higher level thinking and guidance, which is important. I still think for certain, I think for a lot of things for AI, I think you still need domain knowledge of something that you're working with if you're working with AI at some level. I still need to understand R programming, for example, to make sure that if it does hallucinate, I can tell the difference and not just take the information without any sort of critical thinking to it. I think that part, but I think the allowance of more critical thinking is what's been helpful about that.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we also have Shadows on stage. Shadows, welcome again to the stage. You're a regular here. We really appreciate, especially when we talk about AI. You've always got some words of wisdom. That is interesting. Yeah, I do find that the personalization, like if you're doing research on something, that if you personalize it a little bit with the prompt, it can make it a little bit more effective. For instance, that story that they sent out about the fish and chip shops, that's something that completely I grew up with, and it's real. And but yet I used AI to help me with the analysis, and I didn't use AI for the time to sell index. We do a time to sell index in the newsletter, and that took me like 3 hours to figure out the math around trough to peaks, and we're tracking IPOs for 25 years. I did use the AI to just give me the data, and I manually did it myself. But now with deep research, I'll put next month's newsletter. I'll see if I can't use deep research to help me calculate that one, because every time I do it, it's like a math class again to try to figure it out. Anyway, the I
Oh,
ha-
we have not. I like
I have
that.
not. Yeah, I have not. And the other one that
That's a
we
good
learned at the
one.
trade show, remember Michelle at the e-commerce trade show, was that to go and ask them about all the complaints you're getting on Amazon. To summarize those complaints, your top 10 complaints or top 5 complaints, so that
Right.
you can address those in your product and also
In your
potentially even have a
copy.
better response.
So many ways. So much
Yeah,
cool stuff.
I'm trying to solve all the wars and all the problems in the entire world, so I don't need to do that. But yeah, that was an old strategy that people used to use to sell products online. Basically, look at what people are googling. So that's just applied to AI. It's even better. A lot of these are strategies that you used to use on like just search engines, and now it's just much better using AI for that. But if you don't have enough problems, and then I don't know. I guess you could look for them.
All right. We did turn the stage off. So only those on stage. If you have any last comment before we close out here, would love to hear from you. A last idea or hack or minor major, AI minor major. If you want to just jump in right now, welcome to popcorn style. Jason, go ahead.
Just what you said could save people a lot of money on lawyers. Okay, I got accepted to Oscar Law School, but I decided not to go be more like Bill Gates Jr. than Bill Gates Sr. But the lawyers used to try to tell me that I have to pay to trademark every single domain. Okay, and I had over 100. I would have been in court paying them for trademarks. This is since 1999. That is absolutely not true. There's common law trademarking, but there's no reason for a lawyer to tell you that because they won't get paid if you don't do it their way. So it's really important that you know a lot, or at least talk to a strategist before you just go to a lawyer, because the way they're trained in law school is to do things that way that they enforce in court, and they get paid that way. So they have no incentive to really tell you to do it the way that keeps you out of court. They might, and they might be great at doing that, so you never have to call them. Okay, I'm not saying none of them would do that, but they might not even know, because that's the way they work. So it's not even that they're ill intentioned, it's that's what they learned in law school, right? So you really have to understand that's how their system works. They get paid like that, and that's the only way they trained and learned how to do it in law school. So you should ask AI for the best strategies, so you avoid getting into court, so you avoid paying lawyers, because they're not incentive to ask for that strategy. Oh, what's the strategy that puts me out of work? So that's why you have to know, have a basic level of knowledge, or get a basic level of knowledge for your business. Or it's just, if you paid a doctor for something you can just look up, that's just advice, right? So in the same way, you really have to understand how somebody's paid, how somebody's incentives work. And there are still lawyers that tell me that I should have paid like $40 million, essentially it would have worked out, to trademark my names in every single country before I even made any money. There's still some lawyers that insist on that. I really think that's how you can save a lot of money, by coming up with a strategy. The most important thing in the world is to be a life and business strategist before being an expert on anything, because we're all life strategists. Just some of us call ourselves that, and some of us don't eventually.
Yeah, you could actually put the TM at the end of it, not the registered R, if you don't have a registered trademark, because you have the common law. And then when you want to spend the money, grab the registered trademark. All right, Pierre, you're flashing
Yeah,
there.
I was going to say, I think the most important thing, honestly, is I mentioned about making a little tech dojo. Give yourself, if you're running a business, give yourself a little bit of a pause, gather information, and then give yourself some sort of time buffer where you can sit down and sort through it. There's some things with expertise that is very helpful. And at the same time, there's some things that are, and Jason brought up a good point about trademarks, and I see the same thing with domains. Some things are, yeah, it may be factually right, but it may not necessarily, it may be outdated. And even with AI, I think with AI, I think AI has helped out in terms of search, helping to simplify an explanation. You still need to see what it's referencing. The web is a wonderful place, but it's also very commercialized. So what you want to do is sit down with information, anything that you're doing in terms of looking at new solutions, anything that helps your workflow, anything that helps you even organizing. Give yourself at least 20% of your time during a month where you can sit down, review those details, and start forming either actions or next level questions, so that way you can make informed decisions. You can be there's a lot of ways of approaching things. I think what's happening now is we're getting hit with so many different tools, solutions, and even cross solutions, that it starts becoming this sort of opaque level of information that just makes it hard to make good decisions on. So that's just my 2 cents. I think keeping some sort of a tech dojo for yourself or your team is very helpful and is critical right now. And I'll land there.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to end the show. Michelle, any last comment before I close out here?
Yeah, this has been an amazing session. Thank you for everyone that's contributed on the stage and also attending. We really appreciate it. And please come back and join us every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Love to have you join. And go to our website. Like I said, it's all free. We just do this because we love entrepreneurship and we all want to build, as Colin would say, our skills at the craft. Colin, take us home.
Yeah, and if you haven't already done so, check out our TikTok channel. We started a few months ago, Startup Club, and we've got I don't know, 2,500 people already who are following us. And this video that we came out, 34,000, 2,058 likes right now. Maybe you could post it, Mimi, as a close out here, and just play it for a few seconds, and then we'll just close the room. Started with a spark, now we burning bright. Late nights, no lights, just that inner fight. Blood, sweat, doubt, but we rock through the flame. Every failure, just fueling the game. See our said change your state, take the lead. From the ashes we rise, plant the seed. There is soul that's haven't been time, break free. Design your life, live it like you own the key. We're the ones who forward, never stay down, turn say like you go. It's come like a crown, this is the climb, the empire. We are entrepreneurs on fire. Barber built a world brick by brick. Started small, stood tall, now she's slick. Gary Vee said patient for just a day. Empires are built one jab, one play. Seth got in whispered, don't make you try. Be remarkable, that's how you thrive. Through the noise, through the fear, through the rain. We bet on ourselves again and again. Colin C. Campbell with fire in his chest. Start scale, exit, repeat, he never rests. He built a roadmap, lit up the dud. Now we're all running on that same spot. We're one too far. All right, there you go. We'll see y'all next week.